Hey, welcome back. All right, phase 3 of the custard festival. But let's talk tricks and tips. Then we'll get into custard. Um, yeah, let's just jump in. So, as we're working through, at phase 4. No, that's actually starts Thursday. But looking through, we're going to talk about text and backgrounds. They both have the same images. I didn't realize I doubled up. Not a big deal. You can download them. So we're going to talk about that a little bit and talk about maybe even the weird thing is using all the programs maybe at once to do what you need to do. So let's just double check. Okay. So when we want to present text on a background, we got a background. It's like, oh, it's a cool image. And when we're looking at it, and a lot of times when we're designing, if we're designing, we have it directly in our face. We're like, oh, that reads great. Oh, that's actually the correct ones. Like, oh, I can totally read this. This is good. Right? I got it zoomed in and I'm working on it, really fine tuning, and I can see that. That's going to be fine. And this one's actually not too bad. It'll work. Great. And then we're done. But we never back out and be like, well, how's it going to look in context? Like, how small is this going to be? And even with big, bold type, that's starting to hide. This isn't horrible, but it could be better. And the one thing that is just screams amateur hour when it comes to fixing this is, well, I'll just go over and hit drop shadow and put a drop shadow on everything. And then that way it'll read better. It'll totally pop with a drop shadow. Well, adding a drop shadow is adding a new design element. So if you add a drop shadow or you add a glow even, it's like, okay, you started down this path of this needs to be included on everything within this campaign now. So is that the right way to go about making your text pop? The first one I'd go to, and this is the one I've done, and I'm on it, I used to be the drop shadow guy, many years ago, decades ago, until I was like, the drop shadow sucks, to be honest with you. It's goofy. What is it symbol? What is it doing? Oh, is it making my font or my text look like it's floating above the paper? What a great effect. Well, it's dead. Nobody does that anymore. Why is that a cool effect? My stuff looks like it's coming off the page. All right, yeah. You know what? Probably my kid could do that. 4 clicks in whatever they use at school, Google Slides or whatever, he can do that himself. That's sort of like, if anybody can do it, then why are we doing it as professionals? So we'll work at the correct way to fix it. So say I have this, say I'm starting with this. This is my image. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, I really want black text, but I wish it would pop. Okay, you know what I can do? I happen to know several different programs, one of them being Photoshop, which allows me to work in images and change what I need to change so I can do what I want to do. So all I'm going to do is drop into Photoshop, beep, boop, boop, open up that image. So this is it. This is the original. And then work on it. A couple of minutes. So this is my image, dark image. I tried one thing, I didn't like it. So all this is a white gradient from left to right, and it fades out, which it's burning out this side of the image. So I just do something else. I found out if I put a color that matches, that I've color swatched from the image that's lighter, and then just put a mask on it. So can I just disable the mask for a minute? Oh, let's just double this. That way I can show you. So what do I have? I have a gradient fill of a color from left to right, and I didn't want that color to spill over. I have it set on screen. You know, you go through these, you look at them, which one looks best, which one is gonna turn the way I want it to. I want a lighter background, so screen was looking the best. And this takes a few minutes, but it's the proper way to do it. So I went with screen, and then I added a mask, just a layer mask, and I went through and I cut around, you know, this part. So the tub and the dog didn't have any, and it just lightens up the background just enough. So the thing is, like, part of it is like, you don't need to go to extremes to get the look that you want. It can be subtle. I've gone in and like just you pepper in, like I'll go in with a brush set to like 15 on an image, and I'll just like tap, 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 you know, like 15%. And like I want it so it's barely noticeable to people who aren't designers, but it just like darkens up an area just enough that the text will then pop off. And I'll go in the image and do that. I'll darken the sky. You know, like if you want text on a sky, but you want white text, well, go in and make the sky darker. You go in and adjust the photo to make things as how you want them. So like this one, I just added a lighter area. Then when you put text here, and if you do it a little bit better than my crap ass job here that you can see all this artifacting, what will happen is it just looks like the photo, and people don't notice that you've adjusted the photo. What people will notice is like, oh, why does it look like it's floating? You know, like why did they add something dark? And so like even darkening the image, like this works even better than this one. Like darken that side. People aren't going to be like, oh, I wonder why it's so dark over there. I wonder why it's so light over there. They don't notice that. The subject of the image is here. I can read the text here really well. And what we're doing is we're just showing the text. We're emphasizing the dog and the text. If I was to put like a drop shadow or a glow on this, then we're kind of emphasizing the text, but with something added. And then we're like, there's like, oh, why is it glowing? You know, why did they do that? We don't need to do it. A couple minutes within a different program, Photoshop, because you're a pro at it. You might as well just go in. I'm going to adjust the image. I'm going to make the image fit the design, not the design fit the image. And I think we a lot of times don't think like that. We're not stepping backwards instead of, you know, like, what's the best way? You know, I want the text to pop. Well, let's maybe fix the image. And so the image will make the text pop. So that's what I'm showing like here and here. And as you can see with these crosscuts, that's all I did, you know, before and after. And when you see it side by side, nobody's going to notice that stuff. The other one on page 2 of this is probably not my preferred one. I, as a designer myself, don't prefer this one because, except for this one right here, because it's introducing a new design element in which then that should carry over if you're doing it a multi-page document, if you're doing something like our campaigns, and you're like, well, I want to do this, and I'm going to add in a design element like a dark overlay or a shape overlay or a solid overlay. Well, then this needs to happen on everything that you're doing. So it can't be a one-off, and you're like, well, only the poster does this, but I don't use it anywhere else. Well, then we got to find a new way, if that makes sense. Like we can't always add new design elements to a brand campaign that we're developing unless we use it on everything. Now there are different rules to that. You know, it's not even rules, but like you can, but there has to be a cohesiveness across or why you did it. But it should, it should be recognizable, that it isn't just like one piece has like these 3 color bars on it and nothing else does. Then that makes this one piece stick out. And people wonder, like, why doesn't it look the same? We need, when it's a brand and it's a campaign, even if it's just not a brand campaign, it's a campaign like the custard festival. We want people to recognize the campaign you're building anywhere they see it, with any piece that they happen to see. I'll talk about like like we have sandwich boards. Well, the sandwich board should match everything else, because what if I just walk up and I don't know what's going on, and I happen to walk up and the first thing I see is a sandwich board, and I'm like, oh, okay. But then I see a poster or a tent. I will immediately know that they match. But if the sandwich board has like some odd designs and then I see the tent, I might think the tent is like, oh, this is sort of part of it, but maybe it's different because it doesn't match exactly. So we're looking for matching. We want people to recognize and remember from one piece to another to another. That's, across the board when we're doing branding. Like a big one is look at stores. Go to, Target. Look at Target's branding, from trucks to in-store to everywhere. Like they just stick with, red, white, Target, the Target logo, the Target, quote unquote, Target is consistent in everything they do. And then if they do a separate branding, that's consistent all the way through. So these, just personally, I don't like to use these. They usually add in something else. But what I do is I reorientate the image and make it fit so I can move the text to where it's needed. Of course, this is not what we want, because half the letters we cannot read. And if you can't read it, your message isn't getting across to the consumer. And so you need to fix it, because we are visual communicators. And this right now is communicating only half the message. The text out of the ground width. Contrast. Doesn't work. So there's a ton of ways to work with photos and have photo, I don't want photo backgrounds and put text on them. But you should adjust. The first thing you should adjust is adjust the photo. And like I said, you can go in, you don't have to do like a whole sweeping, make the entire image dark. Absolutely do not do that. But you can darken areas. You know how to use masks, overlays, be gentle, and do it like I do it several times. Like I darken it a little bit, then I save it, then I have it update, and then I go to the Illustrator InDesign file and I update my link and I check it. And I go back and forth because I want it just enough, but not too much. So you go back and forth. You spend 10, 15 minutes adjusting the image. And then that image is usable for everywhere else. Like once you do it once, you're done. You're not recopying stuff in. So tricks and tips, how to get those images, how to get text on an image to look correct. Fix the image, not the text. It's like working backwards. Everybody just kind of is like, well, I'm in InDesign or Illustrator. I'm just going to fix the text. No, fix the image. Well, I got to open Photoshop. Big deal. I sit down. I don't know if it shows here. See like little dots at the bottom of all my programs? I sit down and I open, because I can here at school. We have nice, powerful computers. I do it at home. Sometimes it gets a little sketchy with my home computer, but I open every program. So it's ready to go. So I'm not wasting a couple minutes. Like I sit down in the morning and I go and I click InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop, Adobe Creative Cloud, the web, internet, and like just open everything. And Adobe, because I check your work, Adobe Acrobat. It's like first thing I do every time I open my computer. I just open every program, and that way I don't have to like even think that like, oh, it's gonna stop me. It's gonna take me a minute or two to open that program. Nope, they're all open first thing in the morning, and they stay open unless I run into a problem. So use all the programs to the best of your ability. Don't forget, use Photoshop to adjust photos. Use use the proper program for what it's used and go back and forth. One program isn't king. I do, like I talked the last time, if you want to start your stuff in Illustrator, but you may have a client that says we needed it in InDesign, well, start it in Illustrator and bring it into InDesign. It's super easy. They work together seamlessly. And that's why, that creative suite, they all work together to get what you need. Don't just be like, well, they said InDesign, I can only do InDesign, I can't use anything else. No, you use all the programs, but they want it finalized in InDesign because maybe it's going to print somewhere else. Maybe somebody needs to do 1,000 different versions of it. I think I talked about that last time with InDesign, where you may have a poster that you're creating and they need the base poster, and then it's going to 35 different colleges. And so they wanted it in InDesign because they can pop in a college logo on each page for printing far easier. They can set it up and they have a, production artist who just knows it. And they're like, they can bring it in. It's an InDesign file. They can page it out, boom, 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 add those things in, and it's done. And it's way easier to do that in InDesign maybe than in Illustrator. So that's why they're asking for that. So many reasons. Cross-platform, but always end up where you need to end up. All right. What are we working on? What are we finishing up for Thursday? Oh, and then we flip. So this project ends, and then we're going to go back to Tuesdays because next week there's no Thursday class. It's in-service days on Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So I think that sets us back to Tuesdays being the start of the week again. So that'll be nice. I want to see the work in progress here, poster and flyer, tent with backdrop and half walls, directional sandwich boards. All of this is provided for you in the link. I just doubled up the link. It all links to the same spot. They're all here. 10 by 10 foot template. That's the tent. It's a PDF. You open it in Illustrator. Here's the image from when you're mocking it up. Those are the initial ones. Sandwich board. Let's open that up. I got a sandwich board file too. This is the sandwich board that you're going to be putting your 3 sandwich boards in. 3 directional sides, this way with an arrow, vendors and bathrooms with an arrow. Needs to fit your design style again. And it can be super easy and simple. So I have this open because I can just grab stuff. And then I want to open up my downloaded InDesign file, which I downloaded, have here. Layers. Oh, just single layer. These are me getting into the whole layer everything, folks. Layers. So I can use what I have here, maybe. But what I'm going to do is just grab it. I don't need the text. Let's get the text out of here. And I'm going to grab all this and see where I'm locked up. What do I need to unlock? That was that. Let's turn everything on. Now this is just a big cluster, hey? Got to work in good files. All right, and lock, turn it off. Colon, I want the middle ground, turn it off. I want that. I don't need that. The date doesn't need, I don't need that. The date doesn't need to be, I want that. I don't need that. I don't want that. So I do want that. I got visibles. I'm gonna grab everything. And I literally opened this and I was like, oh, I gotta make this directional signage. And I saw one thing and I started laughing. I'm like, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call this background. I gotta separate it out. Paste it. All right. And then I'm going to change it. I'm going to take this one away. I don't want those. I'm going to I'm going to move this off for now. I'm going to take this away, some extraneous bits and pieces. I'm going to X that out. Oh, I paste remembered layers. Well, I have to undo that because I screwed up. I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to take the cone. I think I hit the ungroup. I'm going to cut that. I got schmutz. I don't know what that is. Whatever. Cone. I'm going to paste that. And then I'm going to do the background. Now the thing is, I don't have a font. And then I'm going to grow this. No, I'm going to, yeah. When I grow it, I want to pull this all the way down. Now I can change this there eventually. I'm not going to do it now. So this is like, there's the logo. You know, like I can make it bigger, but we'll get to that. But what I want to do first is I'm going to take my ice cream cone, my custard cone, and I'm going to flip it. And now it's an arrow. I don't know why I think that's so funny, but there we go. And now I have an arrow. And then like you can do, let's do like, bring that up. And like you just do simple. I don't have a font right now. No, I do. Where is it? If I can't grab it immediately, I'm not gonna do it. What was this font? Copy. Text. I'm just gonna do bathrooms. Take off that. Reduce the size of this. I have to do this in a couple pulls, but then I'm gonna go to that free transform tool. Boy, oh boy, do I love free transform. It allows you to do so much stuff like quicker in Illustrator now. So there I have that. Then again, I grab free transform. And remember, the second you use free transform is the second you're always holding down shift to constrain. And then you know, simply just copy and paste that. And then you'd put it like this way. I want that centered. So I'm centered. I'm using margins. I'm going on my paragraph. Center that up. Oh, the tracking on this is really gappy tracking, but I'll go in and fix that. But there we go. You know, like, and then this is it. So then I can copy this. Now I do want to paste in place or paste remember layers. Go here, making sure that's active. Then I do want to edit, paste in place. Why think about it? Why have it screw up? Why not have it be all exactly the same with a simple click of the button? And then like this one, maybe I do the Chuck Brown at the bottom. This would be vendors. Click that. Get it centered up. And then, you know, the final one, and I could change it, you know, maybe do white at the bottom and pink at top, you know, just flip flop this. But I'm not really adding anything new. And then we export it and put it in our design. Here, I got to pull this up higher because it's not breaking the edge. So I just bring that up. Bring that up. So you can work it in InDesign just like you work in Illustrator. It's easy peasy. Use the programs to the best of their ability. That's why I love like anything that is three, you know, like more than one page, more than one document. Like I love using InDesign because the way it separates the pages like this, to me, works better than like in Illustrator when it's just like you can kind of have random artboards all over the place. For me, workflow, that's too hard. Like I want to just be like, I want to concentrate on this page and zoom in and zoom out and not have like little hints. But you know, you work the best way you can or whatever works for you. And then if I do file, export, let's do a JPEG. Just do it to the desktop. Save. I'm just going to do the range. You know, you change that range. You do 1 to 1. I don't need all three right now. Beta spread, maximum baseline, 300 DPI. I can knock that down to 150. So, and I'm going to export that just to see what it looks like inside my file. So then I'm going to open up Photoshop. Oh, because I have this. Open up this. Then go to File, Open. There you go. Open. There it is. And I just take this whole thing. A lot of times I'll just copy, paste. Now I'm in Photoshop, so don't hit Shift. Ugh. We'll do Option though. Oh, that doesn't work. Just slowly make it smaller. And then I'm just going to transform it using, and I'm looking. So the other thing is to look at, oh shoot, I didn't want to do that. So I went smaller and then it saved it. Then if I go bigger, it's going to get blurry. See that? I stopped too soon. No, are you kidding me? Yeah, all right. So pay attention to that when you do that. So yeah, if you stop and you stop it and it's too small and then you make it bigger again, you can't go backwards. So you always stop bigger and then make it smaller from there. And then, you know, I like to look at like the colors all around. Like, am I gonna have to adjust this? Maybe make it darker, maybe add something that have it blend in. But you can add that all in post. So I'm gonna do this plus. It's all or nothing there, hey? Hey, Zoomer. Wow, all right. Then I'll do it by eye. File, edit, transform, distort. I'm just gonna grab those corners. Get them in there. And then, you know, like you can see that, but this is like, is that sticking out too much? And so if I do, oh, this is what you can do is normal. If I do multiply on that, it starts to darken it and show that stuff. And then so I may just take it kind of goes from dark to light to dark. And so I could probably do that with a gradient. I'm just going to use the polygon lasso. And then I'm going to eyedropper. There it is. Where is it? I'm going to do the dark up here. Flip those. Do a middle. And in my eyes, it goes from dark to light to dark. So then I'll go to gradient and basics. And I can do two. Oh, here, dark to light to dark. That's what I want. I'm just going to pull that. And if it's going light to dark, so just do, I'm just going to figure it out and do two. Oh, there we go. I'll go from the middle out. That was it. Middle out on this one. Dark, light, dark. And then turn that on. Control D. And then when I add the extra ones, it's done. You know, clean up this edge, you know, go back in, clean it up. But then we have a sign that looks like it's a sign. So use, yeah. So that's how you do some of that work. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. Of course, I will be posting the video of the early stuff. All your links are here. Again, everything is in here for your sandwich board designs, your imagery that you'll need for some of the mock-ups, not all of them. And yeah, let's have some fun. Yeah. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All right, cool. I'll be around. You know how to get a hold of me. And I'll talk to you again on Thursday as we move forward with this project. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.